You tied the red string. You locked the wealth in place. But there's something no one told you. Wealth doesn't just leak from the door. It rots from the air. Because some spaces still hold on to money poison. And unless you cut that invisible weight, nothing you do will fully flow. You clean. You rearrange. You even tie the red string where wealth is supposed to enter. And for a while, things feel okay. But then, a weird pressure comes back. Money flows in, but leaks out just as fast. You feel tired even after sleeping. The house feels dull again. No arguments. No major changes. Just this strange, invisible weight. In old energy teachings, they had a name for it. They called it money poison, a layer of stagnant energy that sticks to the air, the walls, and sometimes even the objects in your space. And if you don't cut it, it stays. And it slowly chokes the life force out of your wealth. That's why today, we're going deeper, into a ritual almost forgotten. A cleansing, not of the floor or furniture, but of the air around your wealth. Coarse salt, the holder, and dried lemon peel the cutter. Together, they don't just clean. They break the residue that most rituals miss. Before we begin, stay with me until the end. This ritual only works when you do it right, and I'll walk you through every step. There's a full playlist of these salt rituals waiting for you, if you're ready to unlock more. And if anything in this video speaks to you, drop a comment, subscribe, or simply whisper your experience right below. Ever walked into a room that looked clean but felt heavy? It's like the air presses against your skin. You can't explain it, but your body knows. Most people only clean what they can see. They sweep the floor. They wipe the windows. They rearrange the furniture. And they think that's enough. But energy doesn't just live in dust. It clings to moments, to tension, to loss, to unspoken words. And when those moments aren't released, they don't just disappear. They settle into the corners, behind the doors, beneath the objects you never touch. And that's where money poison starts. It begins like a low hum in the background. You don't notice it, but your energy starts responding to it. You avoid certain rooms without knowing why. You feel foggy when you sit in a specific chair. You wake up tired even when you slept 8 hours. But instead of questioning the energy, you blame yourself. Maybe I'm just burned out. Maybe it's my mindset. Maybe I need to push harder. So you try harder. You hustle. You manifest. You light the incense, rearrange your altar, even wear your crystals. But the stuckness remains, because you're fighting a block you can't see, with tools that don't cut deep enough. That's the mistake. You think the ritual didn't work, but the truth is, it never reached the poison. Here's what it does. It drains your motivation to take action. It clouds your judgment in money decisions. And worst of all, it makes you normalize the stuckness. Your goals feel far. Your energy dips for no reason. Your income plateaus, even when you work harder. You keep blaming the strategy, but it's not always the doing. Sometimes, it's the space. So how do you remove what you can't see? How do you reach the part of your home that holds the silence of old money wounds? The answer isn't more cleaning. It's energy cleansing, but not the kind you've seen on Instagram. This isn't about smoke or sage or sound bowls. It's about two ancient elements, salt and citrus. One absorbs, one cuts. Because in energy science, salt is the container. It draws in, holding negativity like a sponge. And lemon, especially when dried under sunlight, is the cutter. It slices through stagnant layers. It breaks energetic loops stuck in your air like grief, resentment, fear of not enough. But here's what most people miss. You don't place them randomly. You need to find the quiet traps in your home. The corners where air doesn't move, where light barely touches, where memories feel stuck. That's where money poison lives. Not in the bright, open space, but in the untouched. So you prepare your cleansing pair. A small bowl of coarse, unrefined salt. A few pieces of lemon peel, sun-dried, curled yellow gold like small moons. Place them together in silence. You don't speak. You don't ask. You let them work. Let them sit where the energy has gone stale, where money seems to pause, where decisions feel blocked, where heaviness never really leaves. And over days, the room begins to feel different. No loud shifts, just ease. I remember the first time I tried this. I didn't expect anything. No candles, no chanting, just salt and lemon peel. I placed them near the corner of my hallway, a spot I'd never paid attention to. It always felt off, like something old was still there. Not haunted, just heavy. I left the bowl overnight. Didn't touch it, didn't think much. But the next morning, I stood in that spot, and for the first time, I could breathe deeper. It wasn't dramatic, just subtle, like the air finally forgave something. And I thought to myself, maybe the space wasn't broken. Maybe it just needed to be heard. Not all poisons are visible. Some just sit and drain you slowly. But if stagnant air can block your wealth, what kind of energy do you need to cut through it completely? Let's talk about lemon. You burned the sage. You opened the windows. But something in the air still feels wrong. You cleaned the room, but not the memory. Because not all stuckness can be smoked away. Some of it needs to be cut. You feel something's off in your home, so you reach for what everyone says works. You light sage. You burn incense. You wave the smoke through every room. And for a moment, it feels better. The air smells different. The vibe lifts. But then, a few days later, that same heavy feeling returns. You walk past that one room, and something still pulls your chest down. That's when most people assume, maybe I didn't smudge enough. Maybe I need stronger incense. Maybe I should burn it longer. But here's the truth. You're not doing it wrong. You're just not going deep enough. Because sage is a reset. But money poison doesn't always need a reset. It needs a severance. Some energy doesn't want to be soothed. It wants to be acknowledged, faced, and then cut from your space like a thread that no longer belongs. This is where most cleansing rituals fall short. They calm the surface, but they don't break the root. They chase the scent, but not the source. When you use the wrong tool for the depth of energy you're facing, the shift feels temporary, like a breeze through a sealed window. You might feel relief for a moment, but within days the same feelings return. You feel unsure before spending money. Conversations around income get tense again. The emotional weight comes back even after cleansing. Your tools aren't wrong. They're just not sharp enough. To truly shift the energy that blocks wealth, you don't just need to refresh the air. You need to cut the threads that are still holding the stagnation in place. And that's where dried lemon peel comes in. Lemon is not just a fruit. It's a natural circuit breaker in energetic spaces. In Feng Shui, lemon carries the wood element, and wood, by its very nature, disrupts and moves. It breaks through earth, the element that stores, traps, and in excess, holds energy too long. Salt can absorb. Sage can calm. But only sun-dried lemon peel can slice through the emotional static in a space, especially when it's been there for months or years. Why dried? Because the drying process does more than preserve. Under sunlight, lemon peel absorbs solar chi, a pure, radiant energy that energizes the peel like a quiet blade of light. And when you place it into your home, that light begins to interact with shadow. The oils trapped in the dried peel begin to subtly release, not in scent, but in vibration. It's slow. It's gentle. But it works where smoke can't reach. No burning. No loud rituals. Just placing it in the right spot, like laying a quiet boundary where old energy no longer gets to stay. And when used alongside coarse salt, the lemon peel does the cutting, while the salt does the holding. That's how the poison breaks. There was a woman I knew in Santa Fe. Quiet. Practical. A single mom who'd been trying to rebuild her life after a brutal divorce. She didn't believe in rituals, but her home always felt off. She had sage, Palo Santo, even sound bowls. She used them all. It helped for a day or two. Then I asked her to try something different. No smoke, no sound, just a bowl of salt and 2 curls of sun-dried lemon peel. She laughed. Lemon? I put that in tea, not my living room. But she did it anyway. Placed it quietly in the hallway where her ex used to shout. No prayers, no expectations, just space. 2 days later, she called me. And she didn't talk about energy. She said, "It's strange. My son slept through the night, for the first time in weeks, and I didn't feel angry when I walked past that spot. No miracle, no sparks, just quiet, just peace." And that's when I knew the lemon peel had done its job. When the cut is made, you'll notice that room you avoided, you suddenly want to sit there. Your thoughts move clearer when dealing with finances. Conversations flow without awkward tension. You feel safe discussing your dreams again, even the big ones. The shift isn't loud. It's in the silence, finally feeling clean. Sage resets, lemon rewires. But here's the real secret. Lemon alone can't hold the space. To complete the ritual, you need something that grounds it all. And that's where salt comes in. One cuts, one holds, but only together do they cleanse the wealth field. You've heard that salt absorbs bad energy. You've learned that lemon peel clears stuckness. So you try both. But here's where most people go wrong. They use them like decorations, not instruments. Salt in one corner, lemon peel left on a windowsill. Or worse, putting both in the same bowl, without knowing what they're meant to do together. You did the ritual, but the energy didn't move. Why? Because these tools weren't made to act alone. They're not just symbolic, they're energetic partners. Salt pulls, lemon cuts. One is yin, the other is yang. And when you separate them or place them without alignment, you break their conversation. You disconnect the current. It's like trying to sweep the floor while someone's still pouring dust behind you, or lighting a match in the wind and wondering why it won't stay lit. That's the hidden mistake. It's not that you didn't use the right things. It's that you didn't let them complete each other. What happens when you do it wrong? The lemon dries out, but feels flat. The salt becomes stale, but doesn't shift anything. The air clears, but the pressure in the space remains. You keep moving things, cleansing again, lighting more incense. But something isn't anchoring. You're cutting but not holding, or absorbing but not severing. And so, the loop continues. To truly shift the energy that blocks wealth, you don't need louder rituals. You need a complete one. Salt and lemon peel weren't meant to work alone. Each carries half the code. Salt is stillness. It holds, anchors, grounds. It says, let it stay here, I'll take it. Lemon peel is movement. It slices, disrupts, releases. It says, this no longer belongs. But when you separate them, you break the ritual's rhythm. You absorb without cutting, or cut without catching. That's why nothing changes. Here's how to make the shift. 1. Choose a bowl made of natural materials, ceramic, glass, wood. Avoid metal and plastic. These interrupt energy resonance. 2. Use coarse, unprocessed salt, something that still holds mineral integrity. Sea salt or Himalayan rock salt works best. 3. Sunday dry your lemon peel yourself, at least 2-3 days under natural light. Watch it curl. That curl is a sign it's storing solar chi. 4. Place the lemon peel gently into the salt, not on top, not crushed. Let it sink in, like a blade returning to its sheath. 5. Set the bowl in your stale corners, those spots where time feels paused, where you avoid eye contact, where you feel most stuck. Then step back. No affirmations. No asking. Just presence. Let the lemon cut what lingers. Let the salt catch what's released. And let the space begin to rewrite itself. This isn't decoration. It's alchemy. A sacred pairing that doesn't just cleanse, it completes. In Northern California, there's an old woman named Lynn, 84 years old. Still wakes up every morning at 5:30 to pray in silence. Her house is small, no clutter, but the energy feels ageless. I once asked her, "How do you keep this space so light, so calm?" She smiled, didn't answer right away, just walked to a quiet corner of her hallway. There, on a low wooden shelf, was a tiny ceramic bowl. Inside, coarse salt, and 3 curls of dried lemon peel, so golden they looked like folded sunlight. She said, "This bowl sits here. I never move it. The lemon remembers what came through this house, and the salt holds what I choose not to carry." Then she looked at me, eyes soft but firm. When my husband died, I didn't cry much, but the air in this house felt angry. I didn't want to chase it away. I wanted it to know it could leave. She placed the bowl that night, quietly. No chants, no candles. Just salt, just lemon. And in the morning, the house felt like her again. Still, but alive. She never touched the bowl again. Didn't need to. The space already knew. When you get it right, the difference is undeniable. The space feels anchored, not just airy. You stop second-guessing your financial moves. There's a strange lightness, and you don't even know why. Visitors say, "It feels calm here," but they can't explain it. It's not a scent, not a sound. It's the moment energy lets go and doesn't come back. You used salt, you used lemon, but nothing changed. Because it's not just what you use, it's how they work together. One cuts the thread, the other holds it down. Without both, the energy rewinds itself. But sometimes, the energy blocking your wealth isn't even yours. It was brought in by someone else. Let's talk about that. You didn't argue. You didn't manifest wrong. But the energy still shifted right after they left. Not every energy in your home is yours. Some were carried in, and some never left. You try to stay calm. You keep your thoughts positive. You light your candle. You whisper your affirmations. But then someone visits. They don't say much. Just a quick stop, a short chat. And a few hours later, your space feels different. Heavier. Off. Still, you don't question it. Because you didn't do anything wrong. So you assume maybe it's just a mood, or the weather, or your hormones, or stress. But what if it wasn't you at all? What if the shift came from them? See, that's the mistake. We think our home's energy only reflects our own. But energy moves like dust. It clings to people. It floats in through words, eye contact, even silence. Someone walks in, and they're kind, polite, respectful, but deeply anxious, or bitter, or grieving, or jealous. They don't even mean to do it, but their energy detaches and stays. It hides in the corners they stood in, the chairs they touched, the doorway they paused at, and you go on, living in a house that's not fully yours anymore. That's the danger. You protect your energy, but forget to protect your space. What happens when energy isn't cleared after someone brings it in? You notice small shifts. You feel irritable, but can't trace why. Your sleep is restless, even though your life is calm. You avoid your own living room. Or worse, you start making bad financial decisions that don't feel like you. It's not your pattern. It's someone else's residue quietly living in your space. If energy can enter through people, then the solution is simple. You protect the door. You don't have to question everyone's vibe. You don't need to confront your guests. What you need is a filter. And that's exactly what salt and lemon peel become when placed in the right place. You already know salt absorbs. You've seen lemon cut, but when placed near your entry points, these two don't just cleanse, they filter. It's like setting up a quiet gatekeeper, one that doesn't speak, doesn't block, but simply decides what stays and what goes. Here's how to do it. Find the places where energy first arrives. O, the main doorway. O, the guest room window. O, the shoe rack area. O, the sofa where people usually sit. Prepare your ritual bowl. O, use natural salt, coarse, mineral-rich. O, add sun-dried lemon peel, curled and golden. O, place the bowl low near the floor, baseboards, or entrance line. No need to hide it. Let it be present, like a silent invitation to leave heaviness behind. Over time, this little bowl becomes a soft boundary. People still come. They still talk. But their weight doesn't stay. Their energy doesn't sink into your walls. It gets cut and caught right at the edge, before it becomes yours. Last year, a close friend came to visit me. We hadn't seen each other in months. We talked, laughed, shared a glass of wine. She told me things weren't going well. Money stress, relationship stress, everything stress. I listened, held space, and when she left, I hugged her tight. But that night, the house felt different. Not in a scary way, just heavy. The air in the living room felt thick like it hadn't moved in hours. The corner where she sat looked darker, even though the light was the same, and I couldn't focus for days. I cleaned, I smudged. I even opened all the windows, but the space wouldn't let go. Then I remembered something an old teacher once said. When someone's energy is breaking, your home can catch the pieces if you're not careful. So I took a small bowl, poured in coarse sea salt, and placed 2 sun-dried lemon peels in the center, curled like golden commas. I left it right where she had sat. Didn't touch it. Didn't speak to it. Just let it sit. By morning, the weight was gone. The air felt neutral. My thoughts came back, and I knew she had left her heaviness behind. But I no longer had to carry it. When you do this right, your home feels safe again. You notice fewer arguments. Children sleep deeper. Guests walk in and instinctively lower their voice. You feel less busy in the head and more like yourself. Not because others changed, but because their energy no longer owns your space. Your home remembers what others bring in, but you get to choose what stays. And now that you've learned how to cleanse what enters, it's time to lock the shift in place. Let's finish with the 3 sacred rules, your final line of protection. The salt is placed. The air feels lighter. But here's what no one tells you. Energy doesn't stay clean just because you did the ritual. It stays clean if you remember why it mattered. You placed the salt. You felt the shift. You breathed easier. And for a while, things felt new again. So you stopped thinking about it. You moved on. Back to your routine. Back to your to-do list. Back to the speed. And the energy? It stayed for a while. Then quietly, it changed again. But you didn't notice. Because the shift wasn't loud. It came back in small ways. You stopped sleeping as well. You argued over something small. Money came in, but somehow disappeared faster. You blamed stress. You blamed timing. You told yourself, maybe it just wore off. But here's what really happened. You did the ritual, but you forgot to hold the shift. You treated the energy like an event, not a relationship. And that's the real mistake. Believing energy stays clean without presence. No matter how pure the ritual, without awareness, it fades. Like scent, like breath, like wealth. The salt may still be there. The lemon may still look golden. But if your attention leaves the room, so does the shift. And slowly, the old heaviness creeps back. Not because the ritual failed, but because you stopped noticing. The energy shifted. Not because of what you burned, but because you were present, attentive, available to the moment. That's what changed the space. And that's what needs to stay. Not the smoke, not the bowl, not even the lemon, but your attention. Energy doesn't stay clean on its own. It follows where your awareness flows. So instead of repeating rituals, start noticing rhythms. The rhythm of the room. The way it feels at 7 a.m. versus 9 p.m. The way certain corners hold sound longer. The way silence either comforts or tightens. That's how you hold the shift. Not by doing more, but by being in tune. Start to listen. Start to sense. And the space will start to speak. Because once energy knows you're listening, it doesn't need to shout. It simply stays clear, soft, flowing. That's not magic. That's presence. 1. Energy always leaves traces, even in silence. You don't need words to change a room. Fear, doubt, jealousy, they travel quietly. Learn to feel the difference between quiet and calm. Your space does. 2. Cleansing isn't a one-time act. It's a way of noticing. You don't need to do more. You just need to listen. When the room shifts, act. When it feels heavy, respond. That's the true ritual. Presence. 3. Tools don't shift energy. Awareness does. Salt and lemon are vessels, but it's your awareness that directs the change. Without intention, they're just ingredients. With it, they're alchemy. I used to think energy work was about what I did, how often I cleansed, what I used, where I placed it. But over time, I realized the shift didn't come from what I added. It came from what I started to notice. The day I stopped rushing through the house and started listening to how the rooms felt, everything changed. I could feel when the air was holding something, when the corners went quiet for the wrong reasons, when money wasn't flowing because the space was stuck before I even touched my bank account. And I realized, cleansing is just the beginning. The real ritual is how present I choose to be. With every breath, every room, every moment of stillness. That's how the energy stays clean. Not because I chased it, but because I stayed with it. When you embody these truths, the space tells you when it needs care. You trust your instincts around people and objects. You stop over-cleansing because you cleanse exactly when needed. And you feel safe, at home, in flow. It's not perfection, it's presence. Salt cuts, lemon cleans, but only awareness holds the shift. Now that you've cleared the air, let's breathe together. Just you, the space, and the flow that's now clean. So now you know, sometimes what blocks your wealth isn't your belief. It's the air around it, the silence that holds too much, the corners that remember what you've already forgotten. But tonight, the air is lighter, not because the poison vanished, but because you chose to see it. And that choice, that's wealth. Not the money in your hand, but the energy you allow to stay. If this ritual touched something in you, drop a comment. Whisper your experience below. You never know who needs to hear it. And if your space ever feels heavy again, come back, rewatch, feel, and in the next video, we go deeper. Not just into space, but into memory, and the objects that still hold what you thought you let go. I'll see you there. Quietly, softly, still.